other people. You have to be able to see, hear, and understand the world from another person's point of view, whether or not you agree with them. It's called empathy. Now, by two factors, for most Americans, two factors, we tend to have a gap between the empathy we have for other people. One way we have a gap is by age. If you are younger or older than more than 20 years as the person you're trying to impact, you guys grew up in a different world. You know, a generation is a different world. I'm 60. The person who's even 35 or 40 or 45 grew up in a different world than I did, regardless of anything else. The second thing is socioeconomic status. Are they much richer than you or much poorer than you? That's a different world. And I find it's not always true, but in many communities I visit, the library staff is a little better educated sometimes than the general population. Sometimes it's a town that's pretty poor, and maybe you're the folks with the steady jobs, and maybe even, oh my God, benefits. That's sort of exciting in some towns I visit. So there's sometimes a gap there. There's sometimes a gap there. So it may mean that you have to make friends with people like that person and say, I don't get them. I don't want to sit down and have a venting session about why those people are terrible, those people. What I want to understand is why they believe, feel, understand the world the way they do. I have to be able to think of them benignly as people who may have a different value system than I am, but they're trying the best they can with the information they know. Right now, I mean, I think what's happening to the country is terrible. What I think is terrible is how much people I love and trust and respect are saying nasty things about other people. That's what I think is terrible. Is that people who I revere open their mouths and don't even think about how what they're saying might be hurtful to someone else in the room. And then they lose that person. And I've even said to a couple people, you know, you wrote something on the blog, or you put something on the listserv, or you said something at a meeting. Did it ever occur to you that you lost folks to the library that day and you didn't have to say those things because you wanted to say the mean, sarcastic, nasty comment about people who disagreed with you? And I say to all the friends I have and relatives on all sides of the barricades having to do with public life these days, can you reach across, shake the person's hand and say, you and I disagree. Can we go out for an adult beverage and talk about it a little bit, you know, and find out, and maybe I can understand the world? Because how can you, quote, sell them if you don't know what they're buying? How can you reassure them that what you're doing is okay if you don't understand what they're afraid of? You might even learn something. Whoa, that would be exciting, you know? You need to do it away from the TV cameras. You need to do it away from the reporters. You need to do it away from the media. You can't believe anything you read in any print material. I mean, when are we going to learn this? I once counted up earlier in our career, we opened our business, my husband started our business in 1975. And I remember at one point in our early years, we had been written up in journals, magazines, newspapers, in some prominent places, probably over 50 times. Only one person out of all those reporters wrote a story about us that was actually correct. How many people here have ever had a reporter do a story about you and mess up the facts? Oh, gee, do you think it could be possible that the people you don't like are also having their facts messed up as well? Right? So maybe one way to start is I'd like to know, I'd like to hear from you what you believe and think, and not use the media as an intermediary, and not quote the media and say bad things about stuff. So what does the person want? What is the cost of change for them? You have all these things you want from that person, you know, in your local community. What is the cost if they say yes to you, to them? You know? We think, oh, all the benefits. You know, here's the difference between people like myself in the business world and some library people when they're selling something. If you come to a venture capitalist as a business person, you're supposed to present a business plan that shows all the ups and downs of your business. You're supposed to be honest about your financials. You're supposed to have full disclosure about all the mistakes you make. You're supposed to say, well, I have this great idea for a widget company, and oh, by the way, we have 14 competitors who are seen to do what we do better, and this is why we think you will do a good job. You're supposed to be transparent and tell all your failings in your business plan. So when the venture capitalist looks, they say, okay, we're going to look at the cost-benefit ratio. I don't see a lot of library people doing that very well. They say, oh, libraries are wonderful and everything, but they never think that maybe there's something that the other person is concerned about. I'm not saying I agree with them. I really don't think you folks are out there promoting child pornography. Okay, I think is that anyone here promoting child pornography? Okay, I trust you, you're telling the truth. All right, this is good. But I need to understand, well, if that's what you believe about libraries, where did you hear that? Where did you learn that? When I first started hitting the road, and I'm not an observant